This November, the UK will host COP26, bringing global leaders together to accelerate climate action. To support the event, Formula E are sending me on an electric road trip to Glasgow to immerse myself in stories of electric racing and electric vehicles, the renewable energy revolution, and much more. Welcome to the EV Road Trip. So welcome to the EV Road Trip to COP26. You're joining us here in London. It's very early in the morning. Currently on the clock, it's reading as 225 miles of range. So that obviously means that there will be at least one full charge stop en route. But we are not going direct. We're stopping at some other places and visiting some projects and some cool places on the way. So we're probably doing a little bit more miles than that. So we might need to charge a little bit more. But yeah, I'm excited to get going. There's lots of cool stuff en route on the way to Glasgow, and I like road trips as it is, so this is a win-win for me. Let's do it. One of the discussion points at COP26 is about speeding up the switch to electric vehicles. So with that in mind, we'll be stopping off at a few places that are going to be instrumental in that switch. The first being in Gaydon and the headquarters of Jaguar Land Rover. The plan is to speak with a few experts, starting with creative chief exterior designer Dominic Najafi. I'm hoping he can give us a different perspective about the future of the cars we drive, and how the manufacturing of electric cars creates new possibilities in how they can be designed. So we're working in design on electric cars. What sort of avenues? I mean, if you look at like the genesis of cars, it's always been around engines being in certain places, so you have to build around that. But with the electric cars, batteries can be configured in different ways, different shapes and sizes. So what did that do when you first start looking at electric cars? Is that kind of creativity overload?
Really, it was very exciting because what that enabled was a completely clean sheet of paper. So we could really go back to first principles and create a car using, taking every opportunity possible from what electrification gave us. So I can demonstrate here a little bit. If we go to, first of all, what this gave us opportunity was to put the battery pack in between the wheels, and that made the wheelbase long, which creates space. Then, removing the engine from here allowed the motors to go onto the axles, and that allowed us to actually create a short overhang on the front, create space. We can then start to challenge the whole silhouette of the car. So the windscreen and the front seats are moved forward, and then this means the bonnet is lower, shorter, and this already creates a very aerodynamic profile. If you imagine the air travelling along here, and because it's not so much of an upright windscreen, you get the transition of air over the car is much smoother. If you imagine a traditional car would probably have a longer front overhang, a taller bonnet, and then again, because where the engine will be positioned, we'd have a more upright windscreen as well. It's quite traditional. And this is a lot more, expressive and much more attitude to it.
What do you think the future of electric mobility looks like when it comes to how cars look?
I think proportions will get even more expressive and even more dramatic as battery technology improves and gets smaller and more space efficient. That gives us even more freedom to kind of move the shapes around and really shape the future of these cars. With autonomy as well, it's all about the experience of imagining the interior. We don't have to drive all the time. And then sometimes we're lounging or doing work, or it opens up so many opportunities. So our whole travel experience will change. I think to be a car designer, or just to be in the automotive industry in general, definitely be the most exciting time ever. And it's really great to be part of this.
Before we left, I wanted to find out more about Jaguar's involvement in Formula E and motorsport, and what real-world developments have been made to the road cars as a result of the racing. Thankfully, Jack Lambert, Technical Partnerships Manager at Jaguar Racing, was on hand to talk to us. So what I want to know is, since Jaguar made their triumphant return to motorsport a few years ago, we've had Formula E, we've had the I-PACE trophy. What lessons have been learned from motorsport that have now found themselves going into the design and the performance of the road cars?
So motorsport gives us a massively beneficial test bed really to push technology as hard as it can possibly go. So for example, off the back of E-Trophy and from Formula E, we managed to boost I-PACE's range by 20 kilometres, and that was a software over the air upgrade to our customers.
Love that. You've added range to an on-the-road car, something that a lot of EV drivers or future EV drivers are most concerned about. That's been impacted by motorsport and it's been fixed over the air.
It's a game of efficiency. Everyone has a spec car, so we don't really have too much control over aerodynamics, which is a massive player in other motorsport. What we're targeting constantly is efficiency gains. And efficiency gains for us on the track means performance, so we can push every system harder, but efficiency gains on the road mean range. And it allows that transition of technology from the race to the road in a much more sort of seamless and applicable manner.
Obviously, there are plenty of people out there that need a little bit more encouragement to awaken to the world of electric cars.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people?
So I think we're at the start of a revolution, really, when it comes to the automotive industry and the application of electric powertrains. We're in this real push acceleration to try and find new and innovative ways to apply the tech. And I think history tells us that motorsport is a very good way of pushing the limits of that. And that's what we're seeing in Formula E. If you look at from Gen 1 into Gen 2 and now looking at Gen 3 in the specs of car, it's almost exponential in the way the development is happening. And that is going to apply to the road industry as well.
So then that makes me want to ask you, what are the possibilities in the future with electric vehicles? Like, how far can it go?
I think the answer to that is it's limitless, isn't it, really? It's as far as you can push material science, it's as far as you can push physics, really. With battery package, can we make batteries smaller, denser, more powerful? Can we make motors smaller, denser, more powerful? Can we increase the space for occupants? Can we then use that technology to increase performance and range? And we're going to be looking at fast charging. Can you fill up your electric car as quickly as you can now fill up your combustion car? I think we're not far away from that.
I thought I'd be leaving at this point and heading up north for the rest of the trip, but the lovely people at Jaguar have just said that I can take the I-PACE that I'm taking to Glasgow onto the test track, the proving ground, and actually get a real sense of its performance, its acceleration, its handling, its speed. I could not be more excited. Alright, here we go onto the long straight. I'm already at 80. Got on the gas. Oh my god, even now it's feeling that 97, 100, 110. Oh, I'm not looking at the speedometer anymore. 120. Oh my god, that is amazing. It's like driving a spaceship. 128. Top speed reached. I don't think I've ever said that in a road car before. It's like every dream I've ever had. The regen as well is so good. The regen is doing all of the braking I need. It's just unbelievable how well that holds. That is so sticky. I love it. 80 mile an hour this corner. Long hairpin. 80 mile an hour, 85. Back on the gas. It's like driving a race car. It's an SUV. Oh my word. That is an unbelievable experience. This thing is so impressive. Now I've got to drive it to Glasgow sensibly. Well, this has been a pretty epic start to this road trip. I've had a great time today. Not quite ready to say the day's over yet. I'm going to do a few more laps. See you in a bit.